A's on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. At the Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Welcome to Rogers Center. Blue Jays are home after a 4-4 road trip. They won a tight game on Sunday at Tampa Bay. Scott Servais and the Seattle Mariners are in town. First game of a 3-game series. The Mariners got in yesterday, had an off day here just like the Blue Jays, so this is game 1 of this 3-game set. Take a look at the lineup for the Mariners. This is a good lineup. They can really hit. They're 19-14 for the season. Gene Segura on the road has hit .342 this season with 9 extra base hits. And then Nelson Cruz. Everybody knows Nelson Cruz if you're a Blue Jay fan because he absolutely wears out the Blue Jays. 22 home runs, 78 RBIs in just 84 games. Nelson Cruz has always been tough on the Jays, especially in this ballpark.
That is the assignment tonight for Marcus Stroman as he gets ready for his 7th start of the season, just his 3rd start here at home. Marcus is coming off his best performance to date. 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. That was versus Minnesota, his longest outing of 2018. For his career versus Seattle, 2 starts, 1-0. 15 strikeouts and just 2 walks, a .208 batting average. Both of those were last season for Marcus. He's got to come up big, got to do the same thing he did last time against Minnesota, keep the ball down and keep it in the ballpark.
Marcus, 7 strong innings his last time out. He's anxious to build on that. This is a tough hitting lineup, and the leadoff man's as tough as anybody. D. Gordon batting .343 for the season. He is a prototypical leadoff man. Good speed, good contact, doesn't strike out often. Stroman is set. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It is down and in for ball 1.
They've got outstanding speed, so the corners are way in. Seattle Mariners have had 33 infield hits already this year. D. Gordon's one of those guys who just slaps it and runs.
Stroman falls behind 2-0. D. Gordon, what a transition he has made. He was a Gold Glove second baseman for the Marlins. Played infield for the Dodgers for 4 years, and now he's the center fielder. Fouls that ball up the first baseline.
You mentioned prototypical type of leadoff hitter. He is great batting average, high on base percentage. He can run so he can disrupt the pitcher if he gets on base. Fast, slaps the ball around. He won a batting title a few seasons ago.
There's that cutter at 92 miles an hour. That was the effective pitch for Stroman when he faced the Twins last time out.
Actually threw more cutters than fastball in that start against Minnesota. I love the location. All of those pitches down and in.
2-2 pitch. Another cutter. He fouls it off his foot. So Gordon, he's 30 years old. His father, of course, Tom Gordon. Very similar to Marcus Stroman in stature and in stuff. They both get everything they have out of their abilities, and Tom Gordon played over 20 seasons in the majors.
All-star. Forget about height. He was all about, when he went out there, he felt like he was 6'4".
Ground ball right to the second baseman, Solarte. Gordon's retired, one away. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense for the Blue Jays. Anthony Alford's in left, Pilar's in center, and Hernandez is in right. And Lourdes Gurriel, he's going to get some extra duty with Diaz going on the DL.
Yeah, here's your chance to shine. He's going to be playing some shortstop now with Diaz on the disabled list. He's got all the tools, I think, to be a major league shortstop. He's got great range, soft hands, a strong arm, and he's got a lot of baseball IQ when he plays the game.
This is Gene Segura, the Mariners shortstop. Segura's in his 7th big league season, hitting .290. You talk about a prototypical leadoff man. Well, here's the best number 2 man, I think, in the league for the way he handles the bat.
The Seattle Mariners are an interesting team offensively. They'll hit their share of home runs, and they've got a lot of guys who can hit, but they don't strike out a lot. They've got the second fewest strikeouts in the American League, so they're going to put the ball in play.
Stroman has that ball go after him. He hustles and makes a terrific play. Marcus won the Gold Glove last year for that athleticism. And he makes a heck of a play right there to take a hit away from Segura.
Segura's been swinging a hot bat. He has a lot of hits just like this, right back through the middle. Marcus kicks at it, Knocks it down, and that's where the athleticism shows up for Stroman. Recovering, seeing where the ball is. Look at him jump all over that ball and then fire over to first base to get the out. He takes some ground balls in between starts every single time out for those type of plays right there.
2 ground ball outs for Stroman here in the first. Robinson Cano. He's 0 for 3 going up against Marcus Stroman. Cano's now 35 years old, but he plays like he's 25.
Look at that body. He doesn't look like he's 35 years old. He's got over 2,400 hits. And a survey, unofficial survey of players. Albert Pujols just got his 3,000th hit. This is the next guy to get 3,000 hits.
Another ground ball. This one's foul. Cano's in his 14th season in the big leagues. He played 9 years with the Yankees and then signed a big long-term free agent contract with Seattle. It's hard to believe this is his 5th year in Seattle. He's a career .304 hitter. Ground ball. Gurriel gathers and fires. 3 ground ball outs for Stroman. Good start to his game. When we come back, the Canadian James Paxton will take them on for the Mariners. Trip, and it was a tough road trip given the doubleheader on the off day in Cleveland. Josh Donaldson and Yernevis Solarte had a terrific doubleheader that day. 19 and 16, that's good for 3rd in the American League East. Justin Smoke, a former Mariner, has hit well against his ball club, especially last year. 10 for 25 against Seattle with 3 homers and 7 RBIs, and Kevin Pillar. Well, he's swinging the bat great. 316 for the season. Over his last 12 games, he's at 370 with 12 extra base hits. Pillar has 15 doubles, 2 triples, and 4 home runs.
Hitting everything hard. They will get 29-year-old James Paxton tonight, his 8th start of the season. It's also his 5th career start versus the Blue Jays. I think this guy's just starting to come into his own. He has spent 8 years in the Mariners organization, including parts of 6 big league seasons. He's 1-1, but he has pitched well enough, easily be 5-2 this season. Last time out, we've talked about it already, a big strikeout game against Oakland.
16 strikeouts. He ended up with a no decision in that game against the A's. Teoscar Hernandez leading things off, batting .258 for the season. 5 homers and 14 runs driven in. Off the plate inside. Paxton has ticked up his velocity a bit, and it came a couple years ago when he changed his delivery somewhat.
Yeah, dropped the arm down just a little bit. Remember, he was right over the top. He's dropped it down just a little bit, and it was an interesting way how he came up with it.
His pitching coach in Tacoma, Lance Painter, who actually pitched for the Blue Jays here, rolled the ball to him. He said, "Throw it back to me." And he threw it back in a very natural motion. He said, "That's your arm slot." Right where he is there. And that was the good pitch for him last time out, Pat, that high fastball. Defensively, In the outfit is Gamble, Gordon, and Haniger, and Segura at shortstop, and the veteran Robbie Cano. He's as good as it gets at second.
Yeah, one of the best. 34th game at second base. He's yet to make an error. He's a 2-time Gold Glover, 8-time All-Star. He's as good as it gets at second base in the American League. Smooth, still smooth after all these years.
Here is Josh Donaldson. Paxton pours that fastball in there for strike one. Josh is 6 for 15 with a homer against James Paxton.
So on top of changing his arm angle slightly, it's not 3/4 and it's not over the top. He just changed it slightly. It's more of a natural area. He's not picking as much as he used to. He's not trying to hit the edges. He's saying, you know what, I want to go up and I want to go down with my fastball.
Donaldson fouls it out of play. 96 as Paxton starting to get loose.
El Stoudemire Jr., who is the pitching coach for Seattle, was talking about that last start where it was, you know, he was 92 in the first inning and then got up to 93 and then 94. And once he got loose, boy, he started letting that fastball ride. He was 97 on his last pitch in that 7th inning.
Well, he's a big fella, 6'5". He's got a lot of leverage, and he certainly has a beautiful delivery now. 2-2 to Donaldson. High cutter. Cut that ball top of the strike zone. Back-to-back strikeouts for Paxton.
In that 16 strikeout game in his last start, 14 strikeouts were swing and miss. There's the cutter action right there. And you can see that delivery about 3/4. The ball's cutting and it's elevated. Blue Jays are going to have to make him get that ball down. It looks very tempting, but you can't do much with it.
And Ervis Solarte, a switch hitter batting right-handed against Paxton. Broken bat, little flare into center. D. Gordon got a great jump. Makes a nice play. The converted second baseman has moved to the outfield. He's made the transition seamlessly. He takes a hit away from Solarte and saves one for his pitcher, James Paxton. Look at the center fielder. Reacts quickly, comes in, uses that great speed and instincts to take the hit away from Solarte.
This afternoon, Blue Jays general manager Ross Atkins reacted to hearing news of Roberto Osuna's arrest on an assault charge, saying, quote, "Words can't express how you feel, the feeling you have. It's a physical feeling," he said. "It's an emotional feeling, one you hate to get and one you hate to have." Now, in a statement the Blue Jays released earlier this afternoon, they reiterated that the type of conduct associated with Osuna's incident is not reflective of the organization's values. Manager John Gibbons weighed in by saying that he's had a very special relationship with Osuna, not because of what he's done for the club on the field, but because of who he is and his dealings with him over the years. But Buck Gibbons also wanted to point out, quote, "There's got to be a zero tolerance policy in these cases. You've got to protect those who can't protect themselves."
Absolutely, and that's the basis behind the agreement between Players Association and Major League Baseball, and I think everybody involved in baseball supports that agreement. We move to the second inning. Marcus Stroman had 3 ground ball outs in the first, retiring the side in order. Here is Nelson Cruz. Cruz with 22 home runs and 78 RBIs in his career against the Blue Jays over a span of just 78 games.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of his damage right here in this ballpark. He's had 12 home runs here at Rogers Center. He's got outstanding power the other way, and if you make a mistake on the inner half, he can still pull it and knock it out of here, even at the age of 39.
Three and 0. Stroman's success against the Twins was the fact he pitched ahead. And then you get hitters to think about expanding and chasing. Kyle Seager, the third baseman, is on deck. 3-0 to Cruz, and you better make a good pitch. He walked a 4-pitch walk. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. He's got an update for us. Bundy did not record an out, gave up 5 hits, 4 home runs. He threw 28 pitches, and his night was done. Boy, he has had a turnaround. We saw him early in the season. He threw the ball very well.
He was awesome. His fastball was just pouring over the plate with a great slider. And it's the Royals, right? Royals haven't been known this year to hit a lot of home runs.
This is Kyle Seager who takes a first pitch strike. Right on the corner. Seager thought it was inside. He's checking with the umpire. Home plate umpire is James Hoy tonight.
And his question is, was that pitch called a strike, or did you get me swinging at that one? I think he called that one a strike. A little cutter on the inside part of the plate. It's where he has lived so far tonight against left-handed batters. Right
Coming in there again. And that's the swing back fastball. That's great pitch selection by Russ Martin. Seager was doubtful of that previous pitch, and it was a cutter, so he came right back in the same spot with a 2-seam fastball.
Got it right on the inside part of the plate. The Super Slow-Mo is brought to you by the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus, the camera reimagined. Available now. That's how you set up a hitter right there. You throw the slider in there or the cutter for the strike, and then come back with that fastball that moves back over the inside part of the plate.
There's a good slider there. Late breaking slider for strike one. This is Mitch Haniger, the right fielder. Haniger is 27 years old. He grew up in the Bay Area of California. San Jose. He went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Haniger was drafted originally as a first-round pick by the Milwaukee Brewers. And then he was traded to Arizona, but then a blockbuster trade brought Mitch Haniger and Gene Segura from Arizona to Seattle. A terrific deal.
Taijuan Walker went the other way, didn't he?
Ketel Marte, shortstop.
He's coming into his own. Hard-hitting Haniger, you could call him. 10 home runs already this season, and he doesn't have to pull it to hit it out of the ballpark.
Hit 16 home runs a year ago. His career high. This is his 3rd season. Cruz at first, drawing the leadoff walk. Check swing foul. Marcus Stroman trying to get untracked, and as we mentioned, coming off a good start his last time out. 7 strong innings. First time he's gone 7 innings this season. This is his 3rd career start against Seattle. Had a no decision here on May 13th a year ago, and beat them out in Seattle in June. Off the plate. When you think about Stroman's early success, a lot of it was predicated by the fact he threw a lot of strikes, and he stayed around 15 pitches per inning. This season, he's averaging over 17 pitches per inning, and hasn't been able to throw strike one all that often.
I think part of that is he missed so much of spring training with that shoulder inflammation. Just now getting into shape. This is how we saw him last year, pounding that strike zone.
Ground ball. Gurriel comes after it. He goes to second for one. Return throw not in time. That's not a double play ball. And Gurriel did a good job to get the lead runner. 2 away. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball. So the fielder's choice erases Nelson Cruz. Haniger now at first with 2 outs. This is Ryan Healy. Just 16 games. He's got 15 RBIs and 5 home runs. Healy is just coming off the disabled list.
Well, we just watched Mitch Haniger hit. Well, this is the clone of Mitch Haniger. Big, strong. They got him from the Oakland A's in the offseason. Play some first base if they need to. This guy can hit.
Came off the disabled list on April 26th, and he's hit in 8 of his 10 games since. Yeah, I'm a little surprised Oakland gave up on Healy because, yeah, they've got a couple of good guys at the corners, and Chapman and Olson, both Mats. But I'd figure out a place to put this guy.
DH somewhere. He's played 10 games against the Blue Jays. He's already had 3 home runs and 11 RBIs against Toronto.
Since he's come back off the disabled list on April 26th, he ranks tied for first with home runs, tied for 5th in RBIs, and 8th in slugging. He hasn't missed a beat.
Not at all. Got that natural uppercut swing that gets the ball in the air. So this should be interesting with Stroman, who throws a lot of ground balls.
3-1. Healy's just 26 years old. He was a 3rd-round pick of Oakland from the University of Oregon. Chopped toward third. Donaldson, bare hands, can't come up with it. That'll be an infield hit for Ryan Healy. Donaldson had one chance, and that was to try for the barehanded grab, and he couldn't field it cleanly.
I think even if he does come up with that cleanly, he was playing so deep, respecting the power of Ryan Healy. He had so far to go. You can see where Josh is. He gets a good break on the ball, and Healy runs well enough that I think if Josh even comes up with that, he's going to end up beating that ball out. So it's a base hit all the way.
That's really interesting. There's another base hit and a very soft contact from the hitter. That says Mike Zunino. Zunino, like Healy, had been on the disabled list early. Got hurt right at the end of spring training. That cutter had such good action, even though it was up and in, it still beat Zunino.
Got to keep the ball down against this guy too. He's got some power. Very few at bats this year, but he's already hit 4 homers. And his power is to left center and right center.
Another ground ball to third. Donaldson will step on the bag, and that'll take care of the inning. Marcus Stroman gives up a walk, a single, and strands a pair. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Still no score. James Paxton back out on the mound. Sees James Paxton. He's the leader in the major leagues of strikeouts per 9 innings. Almost 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's ahead of Max Scherzer and Garrett Cole. Paxton last time out had 16 strikeouts over 7 shutout innings. In his previous start to that, he had 10 strikeouts, so he's trying to match Randy Johnson for 3 consecutive double-digit strikeout games in a row. Randy Johnson did it in August of '97.
Threw 105 pitches in that 16 strikeout game. 76 fastballs, 12 cutters, and 11 curveballs. He threw 80 strikes of the 105 pitches. That's a great percentage of strikes. First pitch strikes, 15 to 17 batters faced, and he had 30 swinging strikes. That's been the most in Major League Baseball in one game this year. 30 swinging strikes.
He had 25 swings and misses. That's a career high. He's even with Smoke 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch inside. Now it's 2-1.
Said he had my best fastball of my career. It was jumping. We were using it at the top of the strike zone. In the opening, we were showing a lot of those strikeouts, high fastballs that the A's just couldn't come up with.
Segura deep at short. Long throw in time. He gets smoked. 4 straight retired by Paxton. We mentioned Paxton trying to record double-digit strikeouts for the 3rd straight game. Randy Johnson did it for 6 straight games in 1998. The big unit was pretty dominant, and obviously he's in the Hall of Fame.
He also has the team record for most strikeouts in a game. The big unit for Seattle. 19 is a team record, and by the way, he did it twice. But Paxton becomes one of 4 pitchers to have at least 16 strikeouts in Mariner history.
This is popped up. Healy has room, makes the catch. Pilar's retired. 2 away. Paxton, his 16 strikeouts is a record for a Canadian-born pitcher. One more than Eric Bedard. Bedard from Navan, Ontario, had 15 strikeouts while pitching for the Baltimore Orioles in 2007. So now Paxton has the all-time strikeout record for a single game by a Canadian-born pitcher. Russell Martin checks his swing and fouls it back. Russell looked like, what am I swinging at that for?
Tough to lay off of it. Do you know who Bedard, when he got his 15 strikeouts, you know what record he broke for a Canadian pitcher? Fergie Jenkins.
Fergie Jenkins, that.
Fergie had 14 strikeouts 3 times.
That strikeout record by Eric Bedard really made the Baltimore Orioles pretty solvent.
For 10 years.
Yep. Ground ball. Cano near second base, throws to first. Just 9 pitches for James Paxton in the second. He's retired all 6 he's faced to this point.
Today, that shortstop Aledmus Diaz has been placed on the 10-day DL with a left ankle sprain suffered Sunday when he tried to leg out an infield hit down at Tropicana Field. Now, head trainer Nikki Huffman told me Diaz got rid of the crutches yesterday and has progressed so much that he's no longer in a walking boot as of early this morning. The plan for Diaz is to stay with the team on this homestand, then head down to Florida to continue his rehab. The results of the MRI showed no damage to the tendons, and the timeline for a return to game action, barring any setbacks, is roughly 2 to 3 weeks, she tells me, although the training staff, Buck, will get a better idea after Diaz is reevaluated in 10 days' time.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Those ankle sprains can last a long time, and he was very fortunate he did not suffer any tendon injuries, and it looked very similar to what Troy Tulowitzki did last year when he stepped on the corner of the bag. But fortunately, it wasn't as significant or as severe.
Yeah, and I think it's basically a high ankle sprain, and those can take a few weeks. So the Blue Jays are going to go with Gurriel at shortstop. They've brought up Richard Urania to help out at shortstop. But luckily, yeah, no ligament, no tendon, no fracture, any of that problem. Those are scary whenever you're around the bag like that.
Diaz did a good job as Archer stepped right in the middle of the base, and Diaz was trying to avoid stepping on him. This is Ben Gamel hitting in the 9th spot. There's a good sinking fastball for strike one. Gamel batting 167 in the early going.
They have had their share of injuries, the Seattle Mariners. And it started at spring training. Carried right into when the season started. Nelson Cruz hit a home run, walked into the dugout, tripped down the steps, and had to go on the disabled list with an ankle sprain.
That was on the 3rd of April. And then Ryan Healy, he had a sprained right ankle. He went on the DL on the 9th. Ben Gamel was activated on the 18th of April, so he's missed time. Gamel was placed on the DL back in spring training with a right oblique strain. Now, they've had their share of injuries, but they're hanging in there. 19-14, Scott Service in his 3rd season as the skipper of the Mariners. Gamel, did he go too far? Not according to Marvin Hudson down at 3rd base. This is a very good hitting lineup, as we talked about. And Gamel last year, 27 doubles, 5 triples, and 11 home runs. And they got a pretty good hitting coach. Edgar Martinez is their hitting coach. And I spoke to Edgar today. I said, "You enjoy teaching hitting?" He goes, "I love it." I said, "Well, I know you got a lot in that mind to teach these kids."
He's got a lot to work with, first of all. Plus, he was a great hitter himself. Career .312 batting average.
Full count to Ben Gamel, leading off the top half of the 3rd inning. He'll take ball 4. Cutter missed inside. Second walk of the ball game issued by Marcus. So leadoff walk, that'll turn the lineup over. D. Gordon grounded out to second his first time up.
Not a lot of swing and miss in this lineup either. So you can start runners if you want to.
He bunted at it and bunted right through it for strike one. Gordon began his career with the Dodgers. He was a 4th-round pick out of Florida. Went to Seminole Community College.
He's got a brother in the Twins organization, Nick, who was a first-round draft pick a few seasons ago.
And Nick's making strides with the Twins as well. D spent 4 years in LA with the Dodgers, 3 years in Miami. This is his first season with the Mariners. Upstairs, 2-1 now.
This is an action pitch here, 2-1. He tried to bunt. What he was trying to do is get Solarte to field that ball. And then it would be a race between him and Solarte getting the ball to first.
Pulled, fair ball. Just over the bag at first. Gamble is around second. Gordon is hustling towards second. They're going to stop Gamble as they play the ball in quickly. Teoscar Hernandez played it in very quickly.
Yeah, Ben Gamble actually stopped and slowed down, not knowing if that ball was fair or foul. It went right over the bag. You don't see that a lot where the first baseman comes off and then the ball is lined right back where it came from. But you can see Gamble actually stopped thinking that ball was foul, so he can only make it to third base. Gordon was thinking about 3, but he had to be held up. He can't score. Second and third, nobody out.
So now the infield is halfway. Now they're going to back up.
Don't go halfway.
Too early.
It's too early in the game, and you got too good of a hitter.
Gene Segura.
Watch Gamble. He starts, and then he just stops, and then has to go again. Don't really know if he was going to score even if he ran hard because Teoscar got over there very quickly. Don't take anything for granted when you're on the bases.
That may have cost them a run. We saw that Sunday down in Tampa Bay with Malix Smith. A fly ball hit into the outfield. He assumed it was going to be caught. It hit safely, and he just jogged around second, and then he realized it was a hit, but he had to stop at third.
He never scored either. They lost by what? How many runs?
Just a single one.
There you go.
0-2. Martin set up way outside. High fly ball deep to right field. Slicing foul. Stroman didn't get that ball away. Segura in this situation, man at third, less than 2 outs, just trying to get the ball in the air to the right side.
Yeah, he didn't get it down either. Look at those numbers. Hit it with runners in scoring position for Segura. He's got that short stroke. He chokes up. He's very tough to strike out. Robbed of a hit by a nice play by Stroman his first time up.
There's a breaking ball off the plate. Martin slid to the inside initially and then slid outside and got far enough off the plate that Stroman hit the glove for the strikeout. Strikeout number 2.
You have to have a good slider to be able to strike out a player like Segura. Look at the spin. And he is a swinger. Comes up empty. Marcus made him look bad on that pitch. That's a huge out.
First out of the inning, and here is Robinson Cano. Cano grounded to shortstop to end the top of the first. That's that good cutter again.
Yeah, they're not picking it up, those left-handers. He has lived underneath their bats there inside and low so far tonight through 3 innings.
Ground ball. Smoke will go to the bag. A run will come in as Gamble comes in to score the first run of the game. It'll be an RBI for Cano, his 19th, and Seattle has a 1-0 lead.
Gamble didn't get a great break from third base, and if he wanted to, he had a shot. Justin Smoke did. Smokey had a shot if he wanted to come home. Would have been close. He did not get a good break, but he ends up scoring the game's first run.
Gordon moves to third. Here is Nelson Cruz batting with 2 outs. We talked about Cruz having big games against the Blue Jays. He has 2 8 RBI games and 1 7 RBI game. He's just a guy that rises to the occasion.
One of those games was with Texas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember. Down in Arlington when he was with the Rangers.
They had one here where he had 8 RBIs. He's always been tough on the Blue Jays. Actually, 2 of these 8 RBI games both came in Texas. Remember, he had opposite field home run. He was 4 for 4 in one game, 4 for 5 in the other game. 8 ribbies in a game. Stroman behind, 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs. Trying to leave D. Gordon at third. Broken bat, little flare into right, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Gordon trots home as Cruz got jammed, but he fights it off for an RBI single into right.
Marcus thought he made a pitch there to get out of the inning. You got a dangerous hitter at the plate in Nelson Cruz, and when you make a good pitch, and I thought he made a good pitch, that ball down and in, he doesn't hit it hard, but he hits it in a good place into the outfield, and Marcus, helping his outfielder, can't come up with it. Upset with himself and upset with those results.
Yeah, he made a good pitch, broke his bat, but gives up the RBI single. Working Seager inside again. They got him inside last time. Struck him out with a 2-seam fastball that caught the inside corner. Two to nothing, Seattle. The Mariners 19-14 for the season. They're game and a half back in the American League West. They're in third place. The Angels lead it. Houston's second, a half game behind, and then Seattle's third. Two and one. Everybody kind of conceded the division to Houston before the start of the season. But the Angels have played well. Seattle's played well. Oakland's a game over 500 at 18-17, 3.5 behind. Fly ball into center. Pilar's on the run, still running back, and makes the catch right up against the wall. Kyle Seager gave it a ride. Pilar runs it down just short of the fence in center field. Seager's got some power. 20 or more home runs, 6 straight season, but this time Pilar makes the catch to end the inning.
To the Sportsnet Jays Care broadcast auction presented by TD Canada as the Blue Jays take on the Seattle Mariners. There's an exciting list of packages available for bid, with all proceeds supporting Jays Care's unstoppable kids across Canada. Bidding opens during Blue Jays Central, and fans can visit jayscare.com/broadcast auction to see the full list of packages. And one of those items up for bids, Buck, a trip to New York City to watch the Blue Jays take on the Yankees in August.
That's always exciting, a chance to go to the Big Apple, and then you get to go to a ball game and see the Blue Jays take on the Yankees. Kenrys Morales has the count in his favor, 2-0. Now 3-0. All of a sudden, Paxton can't find the strike zone. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is on deck in the 8th spot.
Kendrick spent a couple of seasons with the Mariners. 2013 and 2014.
Takes a 4-pitch walk. Leadoff walk. That's the first base runner for the Blue Jays. So Morales walks for the 10th time this season. It's a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the 3rd. Seattle has a 2-0 lead. Manny Acton, now the bench coach, former manager of the Astros. He was previously the 3rd base coach. Scott Brocious has taken over as the 3rd base coach. Gurriel takes strike 1. Gurriel at 236, a couple of home runs. He had his 2nd home run in the Tampa Bay series. He was 7 for 30 on the road trip. Had a double, a home run, and drove in 3 at 233 average. He's hitting his last 2 games.
Don't worry too much about the average. I don't. I just see him gaining experience and learning the league. And one thing that I've seen with this kid is if he makes a mistake either in the field or at the plate, he corrects it. And he understands the game of baseball, and he understands himself. I think he's gaining experience with every day that passes.
Yeah, there's no question about it. From spring training in 2017 to spring training in 2018, he was a totally different player. Driven into center. Gordon's on the run. This ball is carrying, and it's going to be caught right up against the fence in deep right center. Gurriel is starting to show some power. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Drew Pomeranz on the hill for the Red Sox. Luis Severino for the Yanks. Severino has 4 strikeouts in 2 innings.
15 out of 16 for the Yankees. They haven't done that in 10 years,
Yeah.
20 years. 20 years, 1998.
98 when they had that terrific team. Anthony Alford making his first start ever here at Rogers Center. Tried to check his swing and went too far. Alford's in his 7th season in the organization. Of course, when he first started, he was a 2-way player, played football and baseball when he first signed with the Blue Jays.
And unfortunately, he's had to battle some injuries in his baseball career that has really slowed his development. But you watch him talking to some of the coaches, hey, on the bases especially, how fast he is in the outfield, how he covers ground, and he's learning how to hit.
Well, you know he's a great athlete. He was Mr. Football in Mississippi in high school, and then he played quarterback at Mississippi and defensive back at Mississippi State.
He was at first base the other day against Tampa Bay when he stole ball 4. And Brad Miller, the first baseman, said he actually sounded like a locomotive when he took off trying to steal second base. He said the only other player I've heard do that, Mike Trout, where you can actually hear him chewing up the ground, heading to second base.
So 2 walks in the inning, and all of a sudden, after pounding the strike zone, he gets a visit from Mel Stoudemire Jr. And they're kind of looking at his landing spot. But all of a sudden, he's having trouble throwing strikes after retiring the first 6 to start this game. And he's been missing. I mean, when he first started, he threw 9 pitches in the second inning and struck out 2 in the first inning.
Well, gets into the game now, and the other pitcher, you know, chews up one spot, a landing spot, and you might have a different type of landing spot. You know, you're going to have to smooth out that ground if you're not real happy with the dirt in front of the pitching rubber.
Leadoff man Teoscar Hernandez struck out swinging his first time up. Now cutter in the dirt and followed a strike.
Teoscar hit a home run the other day in Tampa on a pitch that was on the inside part of the plate. And I asked him today, I said, have you always been able to hit that inside pitch like that? He said, no, when I was younger, I used to go around that ball and pull it foul. He says, I've learned to stay inside the ball a little bit more. That's what I'm working on. That pitch right there. Keep my hands inside the ball and drive through and finish through the swing and through the baseball, instead of going around it and hooking it foul.
That's a phrase you hear often in baseball, going around the ball, which basically means you hit it with the barrel out in front. You can't keep it fair.
Yeah, you get pull happy and your hands go a little bit too quick. Instead of staying through the baseball, you're going around it and you're pulling it foul. He said, I've had to learn how to stay in my swing.
Breaking ball foul off at home plate.
He's got outstanding power. And I don't think the Blue Jays knew the kind of power that he had when they traded for him.
No, he didn't have this kind of power. He didn't have the kind of swing. Brooke Jacoby has done a great job of kind of getting his batting stance into neutral. It used to be more of a closed stance. This is popped up, little off-speed pitch. He was out in front. Zunino over near the fence, and Ryan Healy, first baseman, makes the catch, and he'll throw it back to third base just to make sure nobody advances. But nice play by Ryan Healy, looking up to the roof, and that ball came back on him, and he almost overran it.
And I don't know why the runners were off the bases on a foul ball. That if he had thrown behind the runners, I don't know, they're kind of looking at each other, and everybody's wondering why they were leaving the bases on a pop-up to the infield.
Yeah, if Healy turns around and fires to Cano, who was waiting at first base, they have a chance to double him up.
You're right.
Cano was standing on the bag, and Alfred was off the base. 2 outs now for Donaldson. He goes after the first pitch. Seager goes to second. That'll end the inning. The Blue Jays get a couple of walks, but leave a pair. James Paxton has a 2-0 lead after 3. the right fielder for the Mariners, 27 years old. He was drafted originally by Milwaukee, and you look at how he has improved over the last 3 seasons. He's truly become an unknown slugger.
Well, he was a very good athlete when he was in high school. He could have played college football as a wide receiver, and I think he's just scratching the surface as a baseball player. 2016, the OPS, pretty decent at 713. It jumped to 843 last year, and it's over 1 this year. He's got some power and some pop in that bat. Got 7 doubles, a triple, and 10 homers already.
He goes after that first pitch and pulls it foul. We mentioned that Haniger went to school at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And the most famous player to play there was Ozzie Smith, the great shortstop of the Cardinals. Hall of Fame shortstop. But there have been other Major League players that have played at Cal Poly. And if you're wondering, it's on the coast in a gorgeous spot. So if you wanted to go to school somewhere, you might as well pick a great spot. Bud Norris pitched there. Mike Krukow pitched there. Casey Fiend and Kevin Correa, they all played there. There's a good slider. A little more depth on that slider than the cut fastball. Cut fastball will be 90, 91 miles an hour, and the slider will be 83, 84.
It looks like a fastball and then just cuts away from the righties.
Line, 1 hop to Gurriel. 1 away.
The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
It was a beautiful day here in Toronto. It's still cool, obviously, early here in May, and the roof remains closed. Ryan Healy had a little swinging bunt base hit up the third base line his first time up. That's a good quality strike. Stroman, for his career, has averaged just about a hit per inning, which is really kind of interesting, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact he gives up a lot of ground balls, and a lot of them sneak through. There's a little flare. That's going to be another hit for Healy. He's 2 for 2 and hasn't hit one on the barrel yet.
Yeah, or one of those infield hits like he had, or the jam shot that we saw from Nelson Cruz. You know, just keep pitching. You're making good pitches, and you'll get your results. Front door cutter muscled out into the outfield by Healy. This guy's a good hitter.
One out single. This is Mike Zunino, grounded into a fielder's choice to end the second. Zunino is 27 years old now. They've been waiting on him for a while. He has been their catcher of the future for a long time, and now the future has come.
Don't expect a big-time batting average, a huge batting average, but you'll get yourself some power with this guy. He's a former first-round draft pick. Here's the batting average. Is still under 200, but he's got some power.
25 home runs a year ago, third most by a catcher in the major leagues. I don't want a catcher to hit particularly for power. I mean, there are rare exceptions like Yadi Molina can hit for average and power, but if you've got a good catcher, Scott Service was a catcher in his playing days, and he can hit some home runs, that's doing some damage.
That's exactly what you want. He's an outstanding receiver, calls a good game, throws well, and he's got power.
There's a powerful shot. This ball's going to go opposite field, home run for Zunino, his 5th of the season. And we mentioned this is a very deep and balanced lineup. The number 8 hitter hits a 2-run home run here in the 4th.
It says he's learned to hit by thinking about going from power alley to power alley, left center, right center field. That keeps the front shoulder in. Again, he doesn't have to pull the ball to knock it out of the ballpark. Evidence of that ball down and away. And he muscles that ball over the wall down the right field line.
Mentioned his 25 home runs a year ago. Finished third to Sanchez and Perez for catchers. That was a good pitch.
It was off the plate. Looked like a cutter that went off the plate. Watch him go down and get it. He's got power.
There's a powerful shot. This ball's going to go opposite field home. Ground ball. Smoke knocks it down. Can't find the handle. Now he throws it away. Gamo's headed for second. So Smoke made an ill-advised throw after he knocked it down. Gamo can run, and he was going to beat it out. Smoke's throw, the air, will be his first of the season. He might have gotten 2 airs on the play. It's an infield hit and an air. The throw, obviously, wide of Stroman, but Gamo can run.
Yeah, there's the infield hit right there. He's going to beat it out, and there's the ill-advised throw. That's where the error is going to occur to allow Gamo to get into scoring position. Roki is off the line. He's an outstanding fielder. Look at the crazy hops that he had to deal with as that ball came up the line. That ball twice bounced in different directions. It wasn't a true hop.
1 out now for the leadoff man. He hits it to Smoke. It's off Smoke. Solarte is there, makes a nice play on it, as Solarte stayed on his toes and bailed Smoke out as he hustled over, made a quick throw to get Gordon, who can really run. Now Smoke is playing a couple of balls here in the fourth, something you don't see very often.
We saw crazy hops on the infield hit. How about that one? That last hop with the English coming off the turf just takes a crazy hop, but alertly there's Solarte to get the out at first.
Don't see that very often in the scorebook. There's a fly ball to right. Hernandez is going to get there, but Smoke, it's a 3-4-3 ground out. Segura flies out to end the inning, but Seattle has added to their lead. Mike Zunino with a 2-run home run, his 5th of the season. An opposite field home run on a pretty good pitch down and away. He just goes down and gets it and knocks it out of the park to right.
Your #1 Blue Jays app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Blue Jays home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And there's a lot going on around baseball. And Dylan Bundy, he didn't have any fun at all tonight. He didn't get an out. Charged with 7 earned runs, gave up 4 home runs in the first. In Baltimore against Kansas City. Four to nothing Seattle. Yannervis Solarte will lead things off for the Jays. He's behind Owen Chu. Paxton walked Chu in the third, but was able to get out of it. There's a big breaking ball. Curveball gets Solarte. That's the third strikeout for Paxton.
He throws what's called a knuckle curve. He takes that index finger and puts it on top of the ball, so it's basically, you got the knuckle, you see the knuckle of the index finger on the baseball, and he can pull down with that middle finger with that seam. Look how he can really spin that ball. It's a really tough combination when you've got the ability to spin it, cut it, and then throw 98 up in the zone, up in the strike zone.
Justin Smoke takes one up and away for ball one. Same spot for ball two. Three in a row. 3-0 on Smoke. Smoke signed originally with the Texas Rangers, then he was traded to Seattle. .3-0. 4 straight balls, and that's going to get a visit from his catcher. That's 3 walks now in the last 2 innings. He retired the first 6 in order to start this game. Kevin Pillar, over his last 12 games, has hit .370, and he is among the leaders in just about every offensive category for the Blue Jays. First in average, runs, hits, steals. He's perfect 6 for 6. He's got 21 extra base hits.
Yeah, we're just going to show you 5 of them right here where he's first. He's also first in multi-hit games, total bases, triples. He's had 2 triples, 15 doubles. I mean, he's been lighting it up.
He is the fastest in franchise history to amass 20 singles and 20 extra base hits. He did it in 35 games. That's the fastest to get at least 20 singles and 20 extra base hits. Carlos Delgado did it on May 7th. Pillar did it on May 6th. The earliest the Blue Jay ever amassed those numbers. The list is an impressive one. Delgado did it twice. Vernon Wells did it twice. Mondesi, 2020, all by May 10th to start the season. 1-2, 1 out. Pillar pulls it on the ground. Seager, second for 1. Cano can do it. 35 years old, as smooth as silk around the base at second. So we'll go to the 5th. Seattle has a 4-0 lead. Time now for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio. Big league season. His first 9 were with the New York Yankees, and he certainly is building a Hall of Fame resume.
Yeah, he's got a .300 career batting average. There's only 13 players, active players in the major leagues, who have, with at least 3,000 plate appearances, have an active career batting average over 300. He's one of them. He's amassed over 2,400 hits. And that survey we were talking about, the players who were asking, it was a survey that wasn't, perfect, but they were saying, who's the next guy to get 3,000 hits? Everybody was saying Cano's got the best shot. He's probably 4 really good years away from amassing 3,000 hits. He needs under 600.
Cano takes a pitch low for ball 1. Robinson picked up an RBI and a ground out in the 3rd. He drove in the 2nd run in that 3rd inning, and he rips this one into right. Another pitch up and out over the plate. Cano gets his first hit of the night. That's the 7th hit for Seattle.
Mentioned the 13 batters. The Seattle Mariners have 2 of them with a career 300 batting average with at least 3,000 plate appearances. He's been doing that forever. One of those guys, and he says he hasn't retired. One of them, I'm still counting him, Ichiro Suzuki, because he was out here working out today during BP.
He's doing everything as if he were still playing. And I spoke to him today, and I'll tell you what he said. Here's Cruz. He goes after the first pitch and rips it into left field. Nelson Cruz, a walk and 2 singles.
Ichiro has a career batting average of .311. Been in the big leagues a long time, since 2001. He was still raking today.
Yeah, and I asked him, I said, are you happy with your decision of what you've decided to do? Because he's a consultant basically, but he travels with the team. He said, it's not over yet. That's exactly what he said. And then he ran off and started to loosen up and stretch with his team, took batting practice, shagged fly balls in the outfield just like he was going to play.
Hit in the last group with the extra men. Wow.
Nobody out. Kyle Seager 0 for 2. They have really pounded him inside in this ball game, and you would think Seager might take a shot, open up, and just guess with Stroman that he might come inside again.
Yeah, they've been cutters inside. He just missed the ball his last time up. Took Pilar to the wall in center field.
Out over the plate, fly ball. Anthony Alford got a late break, and that ball's going to bounce away from him. Cano had to hold up to make sure it wasn't caught. So that's 3 straight hits here in the 5th to start the inning. Seager got a pitch away. Alford didn't get a real good read off the bat, and it dropped safely and left.
You have to play a little bit deep, respecting his power, and then he hits it off the end of the bat. It looked like Anthony backed up just a little bit, didn't read it right off the bat. So it'll be bases loaded, nobody out, and that means some action in the pen.
Tim Mayza first up for the Blue Jays this evening. Mitch Haniger led off last inning with a ground ball to short. Bases are loaded. 4-0 Seattle. They already amassed 9 hits. Strike 1 to Haniger. Haniger is 0 for 2 to this point. Top of the 5th inning. Inside. Anxious moments. The starting staff has gone through a real tough stretch here recently.
Giving up their share of runs. Looking for the ground ball right here. The infield's playing back. They will trade a run for 2 outs. Still just the 5th inning.
It's the 5th inning, but the Blue Jays don't have a hit yet. Cano singled, Cruz singled, Seager singled. 3 hits to start the inning. Bases loaded. 2-1 drilled into center field. Pilar's going to make the catch. Cano's tagging. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Mitch Haniger with a sacrifice fly to center picks up his 28th RBI of the season. And it's now 5-0 Seattle. Well, he gets lost in the shuffle of all these great hitters. He's got 10 home runs and 28 RBIs.
Hitting 6th in this lineup, and then right behind him is his twin, his bookend, Ryan Healy, same type of hitter. Power. He's got 2 hits tonight.
Neither one of them hit particularly hard. He had a little roller up the third baseline and a broken bat fly ball base hit into right.
That RBI right there by Haniger ties him with Gary Sanchez for 4th in the American League. And you never hear his name.
No. He got off to a good start last year and then got hurt. Well, they slowed him down. Ryan Healy, the count in his favor. Martin trying to figure out how to get another out. Thought about a throw to first. Stroman has thrown 84 pitches to this point. Two and 0. That ball gets away from Martin, but not far enough for the runners to advance. That ball really ran on Russell up and in, and you saw the wild swing from Healy.
I think that's why he wants to go out there and talk about that. That ball really took off. He wants that ball down and away, and it's up and in, and it really handcuffs him. Two-seamer, you can see a changeup with a two-seam action on it.
You can see the reaction of the hitter too. He recognized the dramatic movement of that pitch. 2 balls, a strike. Runners at first and second. 1 out. Now it's 3-1. Mike Zunino is on deck. He homered his last time up. Bottom of 3 in this order have 4 of the 9 hits. Ground ball. Donaldson will go to second. Throws high. Back to first. Not in time. The timing was thrown off by the high throw. Donaldson kind of hung Solardi up in the air, and they didn't get much of a chance to get much on the throw. Manny Acta, the bench coach, checking with the video room.
Looked like Josh had some thoughts of maybe stepping on third. Now he's going to go to second, and the high throw really took out any chance for the Blue Jays to turn a double play. Solarte does a good job. That's a tough in-between hop that Donaldson handles. So they get an out in the middle of the diamond.
2 outs now. Zunino gives it a ride left field. Anthony Alfred's got room. He makes the catch on the warning track. But the Mariners get another run in the top half of the 5th. They take a 5-0 lead. The Blue Jays still haven't had a base hit against James Paxton.
before BP this afternoon. Granderson dealt with those hamstring tightness issues over the weekend, but says he's moving well now. Granderson told me afterwards that he feels great, he's ready to go. He reminded me that he was available Sunday, but manager John Gibbons decided to err on the side of caution with Monday's off day to give that hammy a little bit more time. Granderson is available again tonight. He said it's out of his hands now, it's up to Gibbons, although with Paxton going tonight, Buck, and another lefty in Wade LeBlanc tomorrow night, Granderson said he'll likely come off the bench if he's to see any kind of action over the next couple of days.
Yeah, Blue Jays don't see a right-hander until Thursday. Mike Leake will pitch against Jay Happ in the series finale on Thursday, and they've had their fair share of lefties lately.
Yeah, Curtis said he actually hurt that when he was in the field. He got a base hit, scored in that first inning down in Tampa Bay, and then was in the field and made a move, a sudden move. Said he felt it. And this is like a ball player. He goes, we have left-handed starters 6 of the next 7 games. So he goes, I don't know when I'll be able to get in there starting rotation.
Russell Martin goes after the first pitch and pops out to Robinson Cano at second base. One away, bottom of the 5th.
Isn't that just like a hitter, though, knowing who's coming up?
Oh, yeah.
He had it all planned out for a week.
You knew exactly who was pitching for the next week when you played. I had to know because I only played against left-handed pitchers.
Well, you've been playing a lot if you were playing now. 6 out of the next 7 games scheduled lefties to face the Blue Jays.
And Kendrys Morales walked to start the 3rd, one of 2 walks that inning, but Paxton was able to strand both base runners. Curveball, fair ball. Seager throws on the run. It's high, and a good stretch by Healy. Went into foul ground, maintained contact with the base, and records the out.
Yeah, if he stays to the inside part of the diamond, that ball's going to sail on him. Came up as a third baseman and has moved over to first base. Watch how he shuffles his feet, puts his right foot on there, and then gives some ground to be able to catch that ball and record the out. Good play by Healy over at first base.
Yeah, he moved around very well. He's a big guy. He's 6'5". He's bigger than Smoke. Smoke's a big man. There's a curveball for strike 1 to Lourdes Gurriel. Gurriel flying out deep to center field in his only at bat. Boy, Paxton, he was terrific through the first 6 batters, 6 up, 6 down. Then he lost it for a while. Got it back in the 3rd, and he's having a pretty good inning here, throwing a lot of quality pitches. There's a curveball on the ground. Segura gets a shoulder high bounce. Quick inning for Paxton. He needs just 7 pitches to retire the side in order. Stroman is out of the game. He goes 5 innings, charged with 5 earned runs on 9 hits. Some of those hits weren't hit very hard, but they were effective. He walked 2 and struck out 2. For Stroman, he throws 88 pitches over those 5 innings. So the new pitcher for the Blue Jays will be the lefty, Tim Meza.
Tim pitched in a couple of games ago. One of those games down at Tampa Bay, came in that last inning, ended up giving up 3 hits, 2 runs. The big blow, the 2-run home run by Miller, Brad Miller, the pinch hitter. The lefty is 1-0 with a .491 earned run average. He's averaging 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. It's some lefties in this inning, so John Gibbons is going to bring him in.
Ben Gamble, the first left-handed batter. He's a number 9 hitter. First pitch strike. Gamble thought it might have been up. Gamble walked in, had an infield single to the first baseman.
Tim's got a good arm. Fastball mid-90s, decent slider. His problems, he's just missed his spots at times. That's a good slider right there. It had depth on it. It was down and away to the left-hander. He throws that one the other day in Tampa, he'd have a strikeout.
There's a good fastball. 94 miles an hour. Yeah, the tools are there for Meza. I think just a better command of the strike zone, the quality pitches. He continues to improve on the quality of pitches. I think he'll have a lot of success. There's a quality pitch. Martin thought it was strike 3. And you saw James Hoy saying, "Where are you going?"
Yeah.
I'm the umpire here. But he's thrown 2 good pitches, the fastball and the slider, down and away. He didn't get a call on either one of them.
Missed his spot there. They wanted that ball down and away again. Russell didn't move as far off the plate as the previous pitch.
D. Gordon, the center fielder, is on deck. He's 1 for 3 so far tonight. Ground ball. Smoke has it. Gamble can run, but Smoke beats him to the bag. 1 away.
The Lawn and Garden event is on now until May 15th. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Here's how.
Great shot of the CN Tower right next to Rogers Center. Tim Leeper keeps a close eye on all of his outfielders, but especially the new left fielder, Anthony Alford. D. Gordon. Gordon had a double just inside the bag at first base, went all the way down into the right field corner.
Doesn't have a lot of power. You see just 1 home run, 8 RBIs. His job is to get on base, set the table, steal some bases. They are shallow in left field. Looks like Teoscar Hernandez a little bit deep in right field for D. Gordon.
Most of his extra base hits will be low liners and sharply hit ground balls. There's a sharply hit ground ball up the middle. 1 hop through the infield. Gordon's 2nd hit of the night, his 48th hit of the season.
Chip in 14 stolen bases, and you can see why he is a threat. That's a 4-seam fastball. They wanted it down and away. Caught too much of the plate. Watch Russell have to reach back to get that ball.
Strike 1 to Gene Segura. Segura's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Gordon is always a threat to run. He's 14 for 16 in stolen base attempts. Gordon led the National League in stolen bases in 2014, 15, and 17. Coming into this game with 292 stolen bases for his career. He's not real sure about Mesa. He hasn't seen him before.
Doesn't look like he wants to run. It looks like he's trying to get out there and trying to draw a throw so he can see his motion over to first base. It's called a one-way lead, where you get out there very far. You're trying to see his throw over to first.
That's what he wanted. He had never seen Mesa's move before, so he gets him to throw to first. Jake Petrichka has just been recalled from AAA. He pitched in one game in Tampa Bay and then was sent back to AAA. There's a high, deep drive to left field. Anthony Alford's got great speed. He gets over quickly, makes the catch, and then tagging is Gordon. And he slides into second, taking advantage of that deep fly ball to left.
Tell you, that's what speed can do for you. It might not show up in stolen bases, but just those hidden 90 feet within a game. Now he's in scoring position. Right away, he read that the left fielder Alford was going back and he was going to catch the ball going away from the infield. So that great speed, he goes back, tags up. It really gets to second base easily.
Yeah, speed can allow you to do so many things that'll help your team win. Pete Walker out to Dr. Mesa and Martin. Batter is Robinson Cano. They have a plan, and Pete goes over the video, looks at the hitters, tries to put together a game plan for his pitchers to attack these great hitters. This is the first time Mesa has ever faced the Mariners, so you would think the pitcher would have the advantage if you're aggressive.
If you're aggressive and you make quality pitches.
Good fastball, 95, right at the top of the zone. There's no question about his physical skills. He's got a good fastball. He's got a good breaking ball.
Now he needs experience. He needs to learn how to use it. I think he's accomplished everything he's going to accomplish in AAA. Now he has to learn at the major league level.
There goes Gordon. No chance for Martin to make a throw. He got a running start from second, his 15th steal of the season.
And that's one thing he can learn right there. When there's a runner on base, you got to give him a couple of looks. As soon as he turns his head, there goes Gordon. No chance for Martin to throw him out.
I mean, that's an important stolen base. Ball in the dirt, short pass ball, wild pitch, you get another run. Mesa's ahead 1-2. Well, what a block by Martin. They called for that hard slider, and he was cheating to his left. Understanding that if that ball's in the dirt, that's where it's going to beat him.
And you anticipate this too as a catcher. You know, he wants to go out there and strike him out, so he throws it a little bit harder, and that's what happens. It ends up spiking in the dirt. Russell did a good job of just keeping that ball in front of him. There's another one.
That was a tougher one because that was back to his right, but he is so quick, and you know, he's had a couple of days off too, so he's pretty fresh behind the home plate. See, this one is in the other direction, but Russell's quick enough to get the glove on it and keep the ball right there at home. Full count, 2 outs. Nelson Cruz is on deck. Cano takes ball 4. So John Gibbons has popped out of the Blue Jays dugout. He's got Jake Petrichka loose down in the bullpen. So Mesa walks Cano. We're going to have a pitching change. Seattle has a 5-0 lead. inning. He got the first batter, Ben Gamble, and then gave up a base hit to D. Gordon, got Gene Segura, but then walked Robinson Cano on a 3-2 pitch. Now Jake Petrichka will make his second appearance for the Jays.
Second appearance, second game. He was originally had his contract purchased on May the 4th. Pitched in that game down in Tampa Bay, an inning, a third, gave up 3 hits, had a couple of strikeouts in that game. Then was sent back down. Came back onto the roster today after Osuna was taken off the roster. And Petrichka's got some major league experience. I didn't think he threw the ball too poorly.
No, I didn't either. Maybe the velocity wasn't what the Blue Jays had expected, but he's coming back from off-season elbow surgery.
Yeah, I was surprised that they sent him back down after that inning and third down in Tampa, but he's back here. He can help the team.
Nelson Cruz has had a perfect start to his night, a walk and 2 singles. Ground ball, Donaldson goes to second, and that'll end the inning. Petrichka retires Cruz to end the 6th. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th, 5-0. James Paxton still hasn't given up a hit. Through 5 innings, he hasn't given up a hit. He has walked 3. He struck out 3. He's only thrown 57 pitches. So he's got plenty in his tank for sure.
7 innings in his last outing. Threw 105 pitches in those 7 innings.
Anthony Alford goes after the first pitch. Paxton on the road this season made 4 starts. He doesn't have a decision. 471 earned run average on the road starting this game. 0-2.
Cutter down in. He was saying after that start, he said, you know what, I'm going after the hitters. I'm not trying to be too perfect. I'm just going to try to attack the strike zone. And he's been doing it. Same tonight.
Paxton last year had a streak of 7 straight wins. 7 consecutive starts from the 1st of July to August 4th. Alfred chases that hard cutter down and in for a strikeout.
The 2018 Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Beautiful shot of downtown Toronto. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Teoscar Hernandez goes after that curveball. Curveball be 79, 80, 81 miles an hour. Slider will be in the upper 80s. Cutter
But that curveball is like this. I mean, it really breaks hard. Looks like it's going to be up and away, and it ends up down at your shoe tops. And he'll go back up there with that hard fastball. He can pitch at the top of the strike zone. His ball's got a lot of life as it comes through the strike zone.
There's that big breaking curveball. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, James Paxton was actually drafted by the Blue Jays in 2009. First round pick, 39th pick overall, out of Delta Secondary School in Ladner, BC. Broken bat. Segura has it at short in time. But Paxton decided not to sign, went to the University of Kentucky, where he pitched for 3 seasons. He was 11-5 at the University of Kentucky. And there's kind of a unique Canadian connection to the University of Kentucky. Dalton Pompey's brother Tristan is a junior right now, and he is thinking about the upcoming draft in June, and he should be a high pick.
He's at UK.
Andrew Albers, a Canadian, also pitched at the University of Kentucky. But there has been a connection with Canadian ballplayers and the University of Kentucky for the last few years.
How did this guy last till the 4th round then, coming out of UK? Big guy like this who throws this hard?
Yeah, physically you've got to think of him as a top pick, just looking at his body, his delivery. But at that time he didn't have this great delivery. That changed 2 years ago when he was in Tacoma. Josh Donaldson with a ball on the strike. Another thing that Paxton has changed, and I don't remember him working this quickly, but he's really got a nice tempo to his ball game. Now Stottlemyre Jr. on the left, skipper Scott Service, the manager.
You know who also appreciates that? The fielders.
Yeah.
When you're working this quickly and throwing this many strikes, your manager likes it, your pitching coach likes it, your teammates like it. The only ones who don't like it are the guys hitting.
There's another breaking ball, and Donaldson strikes out. That ends the inning. Paxton with a 1-2-3 bottom of the 6th with a couple of strikeouts. He's got 5 strikeouts through 6 innings.
Sitting inside the TD zone are guests from one of TD's community partners. And don't forget, the Sportsnet Fantasy Hockey Pool Playoffs Edition is now bigger than ever. Build your roster for your chance to win the ultimate grand prize, an all-new 2019 Ram 1500 plus $25,000 in cash. The Sportsnet Fantasy Hockey Pool Playoffs Edition. Enter now.
Jake Petrichka throws a first pitch strike to Kyle Seager. Well, Blue Jays have been wearing him out inside. Hey, a little flare base hit to left field. On one pitch they threw away. He put it in play, and Anthony Alford kind of misplayed it into a single. Pulled foul outside of first.
Good hitters will pick up on that, and they might back off the plate just a little bit and start hunting that ball on the inside. There's the Blue Jays. They're going to shift now. Pitch him in, play him the pull.
Seager is now 30 years old. He's the older brother of Corey Seager, the Dodgers shortstop, who unfortunately has undergone Tommy John surgery and he's lost for the season. There's a good sinking fastball. Seager strikes out on away.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
Louis Rivera moving his infield around, according to the batter Mitch Haniger. Haniger had a sacrifice fly his last time up. Jake Petrichka, now 29 years old. He'll turn 30 on June 5th. He was originally drafted by the White Sox in the second round out of Indiana State University. Broken bat, little fly ball into left field. Alford is there. Henniger's retired. Petrichka's had some good seasons with the White Sox. That was the only team he has played for until coming to the Blue Jays. He had elbow surgery, not Tommy John surgery, but he had his ulnar nerve moved to take the pressure off it, and had some ligaments debrided. They were scarred up and had some rough spots on it. Had that cleaned up in the off season, and he's just now built up his arm strength.
And this could turn out to be a pretty decent signing by the Blue Jays. He's got some major league experience, like you said, and when he was healthy, remember when he first came up, I mean, everything was heavy and hard. Pitches were hard, down, with movement. He looks like a big leaguer throwing.
181 games with the White Sox.
Right now, that one's 94 miles an hour. You're just, building up your arm strength and getting back out on the mound, getting a feel for that baseball. You have your nerve moved in your elbow.
It's a good quality sinker right there. Right at the bottom of the zone. Pete Walker just really getting an extended look at Petrichka. He wasn't with the Blue Jays in spring training camp very long, as he was behind the rest of the pitchers, so he went over the minor league camp early. Brian Healy's just getting his second look at Petrichka. He's faced him one time. 2-2. Pulled foul outside of third. Came back with the slider and threw that one too far away. 3-2 now.
Yeah, he missed his spot last time, so he wanted to make sure he kept that ball down and away. He's got good variance between the miles per hour on his slider and his fastball. It's almost 10 miles an hour.
Good sinker for the strikeout. Good inning. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts. Go to the bottom of the 7th. James Paxton. Paxton has always had trouble pitching in this ballpark. Not the case tonight. He's walked 3, struck out 5. He's thrown just 71 pitches and hasn't given up a hit through 6 innings.
First struck out the first 2 batters of the game. He got some fly balls, some weak ground balls are in there. He has walked 3. Blue Jays had a runner to second base, and that was in the 3rd inning. It's been a simple little formula for him tonight. Get ahead with the fastball. He got Solarte last time with a couple of cutters, struck him out. But get ahead with that fastball, and then you can use that curveball and that cutter if you want to.
Ground ball, Segura. That's short. Over to first. Nice dig by Ryan Healy. Healy stayed with it. Segura made a low throw, and Healy shaking his head. Don't do that again, please.
A tough play. But watch how the first baseman gets down and then stays down there. That's how you pick that ball. It's not really a short hop. It's more of an in-between hop. So those are a little bit tougher. It came off the turf also. But he stayed down there, stayed with it to record the out.
So Segura kind of handcuffed Healy, but he came up with a good play. Justin Smoke is 0 for 1 with a walk. He walked in the 4th. One of 3 walks Paxton has surrendered. Well, he's got it working tonight, doesn't he?
It's tough to keep that ball fair if you're a right-handed hitter. It's really diving down and in, and you almost have to slow your swing down and just try and force the ball back through the middle.
Smoke lifts it in the air. D. Gordon, the center fielder, will get there and make the catch.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED TV. See nothing else.
Two outs, bottom of the 7th. Kevin Pillar. He goes after the first pitch and pulls it foul.
Here's that cutter again. That same thing to a right-hander. It's almost like, remember Jim Abbott had that cutter? He would throw that cut fastball inside to right-handers, and he just couldn't keep it fair. Even if you backed off the plate and looked for it, he could still get it in there, and you couldn't do much with it. Paxton's ball does the same thing.
.96. That's a result of being efficient early in this game. He's still got a lot left in the tank.
That happened in that last start, 7th inning. Pitching coach came out and said, empty the tank right here. This is your last inning. His last pitch was 97.
Just like that one. Well, Stottlemyre Jr. has to be very pleased with the development of James Paxton. He's had command of his fastball, his curveball, and his cutter. That's Pete Harnish on the right of Stottlemyre. He's a roving pitching instructor. He was a terrific pitcher in his playing days. Pillar hits it. What a grab by Seager. Throws low in time. A terrific play by the former Gold Glover Kyle Seager. That ball looked like it was going to be 2, but he stabbed it, got to his feet quickly, and Ryan Healy helped him out on the other end. The Blue Jays still don't have a hit through 7 innings. And Seager made a game-saving play right there for James Paxton. And Healy on the other end to make the grab. Civic SI. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Mike Zunino hit 25 home runs last year for the Seattle Mariners. This is number 5 of the season. The big blow in tonight's ball game happened in the 3rd inning. His 5th home run down the right field line, 2-run home run, tonight's drive of the game, and he will lead off here in the 8th inning. The power hitting catcher for the Seattle Mariners.
Aaron Luke takes over for Jake Petrichka. Petrichka retired all 4 batters he faced, inning in the 3rd with a couple of strikeouts.
Aaron into the ball game for the 15th time this season. No record ERA of .497. He's thrown just 12 2/3 innings. He's been used as a lefty specialist for the Blue Jays. Aaron last worked on the 5th Cinco de Mayo, an inning in the 3rd. He took over when Aaron Sanchez was knocked out in the 4th inning. Had a couple of walks and a strikeout in that game, so he will take over. Face 8-9-1.
Mike Zunino, the catcher, goes after the first pitch, lines it to the glove of Donaldson. We'll go back and take a look at the terrific play by the 3rd baseman, Kyle Seager.
Oh, he gets a great jump. He stays low, stabs it, actually catches the ball behind him, and then somehow comes up firing over to Ryan Healy. This ball is by him. It looks like for extra bases for Pilar. Accurately across the diamond. You don't think Healy wants it? He's loving it.
Kyle Seager won a Gold Glove in 2014 for the Mariners. And you think that ball players don't know what's going on?
Yeah, you got to give up your body sometimes. Your teammate's throwing a no-no.
Seager committed just 8 errors in 157 games the year he won that Gold Glove. And he flashed the leather on that last play. This is Ben Gamble. He is 1 for 2. Scored a run in the 3rd. Little tapper back to the mound. Luke will take his time. 2 up, 2 down. Well, the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 8th will send Russell Martin, Kendrys Morales, and Lourdes Gurriel to the plate to face Paxton. Paxton's only thrown 83 pitches. So Blue Jays hopeful of getting something going.
Nobody talking to him. Leave him alone.
I actually saw Paxton in a clubhouse earlier today, and we made eye contact. I just kind of nodded at him. He said, "Hey, how you doing?" And that was about it. D. Gordon has a couple of hits tonight. He's 2 for 4. And Luke misses 3-0. Gene Segura on deck if Gordon can reach.
It's a team who's going to be in it all year long, I think, the Mariners. Out west, the Angels are very improved this year. You got the world champs out there in the Houston Astros, Seattle. They've improved themselves and they're getting healthier. Even Oakland's over 500 out in the American League West.
Strike 2. The Mariners, they thought they were going to sign Shohei Ohtani. They were really late into the game and they were kind of disappointed when he chose to sign with the Angels. Ground ball past Gurriel into center field. Gurriel played it off to the side and it skipped right past him.
They haven't announced what that is, but that's a rocket at the shortstop. He's in the picture. It's at him. He tries to pick it. D. Gordon's been on 3 times tonight.
That's given a hit for Gordon, his 3rd hit. So he's up to 49 hits for the season. Segura came into this game batting .342 on the road this season. He's 0 for 4 with a strikeout so far tonight. He's late on that loop fastball. 0-2.
Came into the game at 290. That 0 for 4 is taking him down to 282. He can really wait a long time against pitchers because his swing is so short.
Loop strikes him out. So the hit is stranded at first base. Loop gets out of it. He gives up a 2-out single and nothing more. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Mariners lead at 5-0. Time now for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker in the Samsung broadcast studio. BC. 7 innings, no hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and he's only thrown 83 pitches. Wes Martin leads things off and takes the first pitch, strike.
We just had their best opportunity last inning to get a hit. They are robbed by a couple of great defensive plays. Healy picked the first one on the ground ball by Solarte, and then Seager and Healy finished off Kevin Pillar to end the 7th.
Martin hits it high in the air to left. Long stretching run to the track, and Gamble is there to make the catch right in front of the scoreboard. That ball carried a long way. The way he went after it didn't look like he thought he had a chance to catch it, but he kept going, kept running and tracked it down.
Might be the deepest part of this ballpark, right in front of that auxiliary scoreboard, and he crashes up against it to haul it in. 1 down.
Paxton has never thrown a complete game. His longest outing, 8 1/3, back in 2016 against the Angels. There's a line drive into center, and Gordon is there to make the catch. A couple of sharply hit balls here in the 8th.
That was a hanging curveball to Morales. Just a get me over curveball, and Kentris all over it, but unfortunately right at D. Gordon. D. Gordon's made a couple of nice catches in the outfield tonight. His starting pitcher appreciates that.
Gurriel goes after the first pitch. Paxton has retired 12 in a row. Fly ball down the right side. That's going to hit foul safely.
They're trying to heat him up. High fastballs against Lourdes. Didn't get that one up. He did get it in, so he couldn't extend and catch it out in front. His fastball's been outstanding tonight. His fastball command has been outstanding. His curveball's been really good. And that cutter, almost unhittable. Here comes another one.
Lays off. One and two, 2 outs. Did he go after it? No swing, says Quinn Wolcott down at first base. Paxton, coming off a 16 strikeout outing last time out, has struck out 5. 6. Foul tip held on to by the catcher Zunino. 8 in the books for James Paxton. Blue Jays still looking for their first hit.
Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. It's the best time to find a Honda you love.
Quite a night here at Rogers Center. Blue Jays trail 5-0. James Paxton, 8 innings in the books, and he has no friends. And Paxton acknowledging a terrific defensive play in center field by D. Gordon, as Gordon ran down that liner off the bat of Kendrys Morales. Ben Gamble made a nice play. Kyle Seager's made the play of the game to this point, no question about it. He took a hit away from Kevin Pillar, probably a double. John Axford into the game, more Canadian flavor into this ball game.
Ax has been great. He last worked in that doubleheader game 1 in Cleveland through a season-high 2 1/3 innings. Did it in 18 pitches with a strikeout. That has lowered his ERA to 1.65 on the season.
Robinson Cano behind 0-1. The curveball missed upstairs. Axford had a terrific outing in Cleveland.
He has harnessed that 2-seam fastball. That has really made the difference for him. He's been able to throw it at any time and get great results.
Late movement on that pitch, and Cano is unable to make contact. 1-2, Axford ahead. Bullpen has pitched well again. Mazep went 2/3. Petrichka an inning and a third. Luke had a clean inning, and now Axford. Axford's velocity has been in the mid to upper 90s all season long.
Yeah, and it started in spring training. Remember getting down there, Pete Walker was saying, hey, Axford's got good stuff. His fastball's moving all over the place. He's throwing it for strikes. He'll mix in a curveball every now and then, but he has just pounded that strike zone with 2-seamers.
Off Donaldson's glove. That'll go for a base hit. Gurriel retrieves it, but Cano's aboard with his second hit of the game.
It's time to fire up your senses. Your best experience begins with Broil King. Available at your local home hardware. Here's how.
James Paxton has not allowed a hit through 8 innings. He has never had a complete game in his big league career. Nelson Cruz swings and misses that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Cruz is 2 for 3.
He's going to need a new bat.
Yes, he is.
That's the devastation of that two-seamer, especially the big, powerful right-handed hitters. You can run it in on them. They start their swing. They think it's on the inside part of the plate, and the next thing you know, it's on their thumbs.
Coming in there again.
I think the key for John throwing that two-seamer is he's been really under control. His body's been over control. He hasn't overthrown it. Just stay in your lane, keep firing it in there. You can actually aim to the middle of the plate, and with that dramatic movement, it can really dive inside to those righties or away from the lefties. Just don't overthrow it.
Smoke steps on the bag. They've got Cano hung up between first and second. And there's the tag. Good job by Axford. He gets another ground ball. 2 outs. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Seattle with a 5-0 lead behind their starter, James Paxton. Paxton's put together 3 real good starts in a row. Kyle Seager takes strike 1.
Blue Jays shifted up again on Seager. They have really pounded him inside tonight.
High fly ball to left. Alford on a warning track, and Axford retires Seager to end the top of the ninth. James Paxton will go to the mound. There has not been a no-hitter here since Justin Verlander, May 7th, 2011. innings, no hits, just 92 pitches. He's from Ladner, BC, 22 miles from the U.S. border, north of Seattle, south of Vancouver. Went to Delta Secondary High School in Ladner. Anthony Alford goes after the first pitch. Popped up, foul ground, one away.
That's 14 in a row set down by Paxton. He's getting stronger as the game goes along.
He had a hiccup in the third when he walked Chew. Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach, went out and had a chat. Then he got back in the groove in the fourth and hasn't missed a beat since. Teoscar Hernandez takes strike one. '96
with late life up in the strike zone. Tough to catch up to that one.
'97, 2 outs. Paxton is the first Canadian to have a no-hitter heading into the ninth since Kurt McCaskill of the Angels on April 28, 1989 against the Blue Jays. That was broken up with no outs by Nelson Liriano.
'98. Whew. Does he see the finish line?
He smells it. Seager. James Paxton with a no-hitter. There were a couple of great plays behind Paxton, most notably this Seager play in the seventh to take a hit away from Kevin Pillar, and then the line drive caught off the bat of Kendrys Morales by D. Gordon in center field, but James Paxton was nearly perfect tonight.
Yes, nearly perfect. 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. When I was looking at this game today, I was wondering, okay, how do you follow up a 16 strikeout performance, 7 innings, 16 strikeouts, and you get a no decision? Well, that's how you follow it up, by throwing the last pitch and throwing a no-no. How impressive was that outing by that youngster?
And he got it up to 100 in the 9th inning, and he was efficient all game long. He had all of his pitches working. He threw strikes. But James Paxton from Ladner, BC, the first no-hitter at Rogers Center since Justin Verlander in 2011.
Yeah, he could see the finish line, and he was pumping it in there. And I like that he went with his best pitch. He said, you know what, if I'm going to throw no-no, I'm not going to get beat by my second best pitch. And he was pumping fastballs at 100 miles an hour there in the 9th inning.
The Big Maple has done something the Big Unit did often for Seattle. He's thrown a no-hitter, his first complete game shutout of his career.
I was there for Nolan Ryan's no-hitter down in Texas in '91. I was here for the Brandon Morrow 17 strikeout, 8 2/3 no-hit game But this was impressive. I didn't get a chance to see the Verlander, but this looked like the Justin Verlander game from a few years ago.
And what a place for him to throw his first no-hitter in Canada, pointing to his maple leaf tattoo on his right arm. The big maple. Proud of that tattoo, indeed.
But you could tell something was pretty special in the first inning when he struck out the first 2 batters. And that fastball had a lot of life to it.
James Paxton is going to do an interview with Seattle TV, and then we will have a chance to hear from him. We'll take a look at some of the strikeouts. He had 7 strikeouts in the game, and he was good with all of his pitches all night long.
Blowing that fastball at the upper parts of the strike zone. He got Hernandez and Donaldson the first 2 batters of the ball game, and when he needed to go downstairs, he had a curveball. He had command of it where he needed to throw it, and the cutter was impressive. He could bury that down and in against the right-handers and then go back up. This is the final out of the ball game. Kyle Seager, D. Gordon, and I think the left fielder Gamble, I think, get a star by their name too tonight because of the great defense that they provided. And Paxton with a memorable, and I mean memorable, night for the Mariners.
Well, they call him the Big Maple. He's got that great maple leaf tattoo on his right forearm, and he was proud to show all these Canadian fans here at Rogers Center tonight that tattoo as he was getting prepared to do an interview with Seattle TV. But he's from Ladner, BC, just 22 miles from the U.S. border north of Seattle. And obviously, the Blue Jays drafted him out of high school, out of Delta Secondary. Wouldn't he be nice in a Blue Jays uniform? But he went to Kentucky. He signed with the Mariners, and it's been a slow process for him developing, but this is the type of pitcher Seattle felt like they had all along.
I think they finally found it last year. He went down to the minor leagues, found that perfect arm slot for him, and since he came back, he won 7 in a row towards the end of the season, and he started it this year. He's been able to get his fastball over when he needs to now, and he's got that great curveball and that cutter. It's a deadly combination, I think, for everybody. When I watch him pitch, he reminds me of Jim Abbott back there, and Jim Abbott threw a no-hitter also when he was with the New York Yankees. He reminds me of him because he can bury that thing inside and then climb the ladder with the fastball.
You made a great point early on about the tempo that he was utilizing, how it kept the infielders engaged, and he certainly was rewarded by that terrific play from Kyle Seager.
Confident. I mean, when you watched him out there tonight, he looked very confident on the mound. He's like, give me the ball. I'm not going to stray too far from the pitching rubber. I'm just going to pound that strike zone. I don't remember too many balls hit very hard tonight by the Blue Jays. Seager made the great play on Pilar. That looked like a double down the line. Gordon took a ball away to the wall in right center field and then came in on that sliding one. But that was basically it. A lot of ground balls and 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, and he had all of his pitches. The fastball, it hit 100 in the 9th inning. That was terrific. His curveball was very good, 79, 80 miles an hour. And then the cut fastball was probably the most effective. And you compared it to Jim Abbott's cut fastball, how it neutralized so many great right-handed hitters.
You can't do anything with it. When it's bearing in like that, you know it's coming. You see it. You just can't keep it fair, and you can't keep it off the label of the bat because it's just coming in so hard and so fast. There's just not much you can do with that. So then you start looking for the ball inside, and what does he do? He starts throwing the ball away. There's one right there for Teoscar Hernandez. He had the great fastball, and I love at the end when he saw the finish line, he said, I'm going to run right through it, and I'm going to throw my hardest fastball in that last inning. How impressive. And he did it under 100 pitches.
Good thing he'd have been out of the game.
Wow.
A great line. No hits, no earned runs. Obviously, his first complete game shutout of his career, his first no-hitter. And how about the magic moment he had opening day in Minnesota when the eagle landed on his shoulder? Right. Maybe that was a stroke of good fortune and a precursor to things to come for James Paxton. A terrific outing, and certainly he was in charge all night long. And we'll look at the last pitch of the game as Seager, again at third base, gets another ball he handles cleanly.
Ball was hit hard by Josh Donaldson, but it was right to the left of the Gold Glover. That's an easy play for Seager. As soon as the throw is made over to first base, they can congratulate each other. How do you follow a 16 strikeout performance? You throw a no-hitter. I mean, his last 3 games have been as good as anybody, I think, in baseball.
10 strikeouts in the previous game, then 16 in a decision last game. And here's the dugout on the final out. And they are thrilled to be able to witness a no-hitter.
So we saw Sean Manaea throw a no-hitter. The Dodgers threw a no-hitter last week down in Mexico, the whole team. And now James Paxton throws a no-hitter. Wow.
And now we're going to hear from James Paxton, our Hazel May. Go ahead, Hazel, it's all yours.
We are. James Paxton, certainly worth the wait as he does his media availability. Congratulations. You know, Ladner, BC is just jumping for joy. Tell me what it took for you coming off that 16 strikeout performance. What was working for you today, James?
You know, early, the fastball's okay. I kind of lost my handle there for a little bit, started walking a few guys, and got some plays made behind me. Towards the middle end of the game, I found my rhythm, started making some pitches, found my curveball, and that was big to kind of slow them down, keep them off the hard fastball. And that last inning was just a lot of fastballs. I was out there just throwing it as hard as I could, and you know, the guys were making every play behind me.
You were talking about the walks. You walked Morales and then you walked Alfred there in the third. Mel came out to talk to you there on the mound. What did he say that kind of refocused you the rest of the way?
He was just asking me what was going on, and I was actually slipping on the mound. My front cleat was slipping, and I was having a hard time kind of finding my my footing out there. Sure. And then, you know, he pretty much said, okay, we'll figure it out. You know, like, let's get it fixed, you know, find some rhythm and go get him. And, you know, Z was great all night, Zanino. He really kept me online, kept me going, and I was putting down the right fingers tonight.
I tell you, you mentioned your defense, that play by Kyle Seager in the 7th inning. I mean, the look on your face, what's going through your mind as you saw that ball rocket there to the hot corner?
I thought it was going to get by him, you know, but Kyle's an amazing player, and he made an amazing play. You know, that's what those guys do, and I couldn't have been happier the moment that he did it. You know, they hit some balls really hard tonight, and I was fortunate to have those balls go at people, and then we had people making amazing plays as well.
The Rogers Center hasn't always been very kind to you. I think I can say that. What does it mean to you, James, to do it in front of Canadian fans and doing it on home soil?
It's very special. You know, I can't think of a better place to have done it. You know, in Canada, yeah. The Canadian fans. You know, it means a lot. It's very special, and I'm very happy about it. Yeah.
All right, can we see the maple leaf one more time there for the camera?
For Canada.
There you go, guys. Congratulations, James, the second Canadian to have a no-hitter there in the majors since Dick Fowler in 1945. Enjoy this, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Guys, James Paxton, a no-no, his first of his career. And boy, Buck, the way he's been pitching, we may see many more nights just like this one.
He was great tonight, obviously. It's the 6th no-hitter in Mariners franchise history. Quite a night for James Paxton. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Here's Sportsnet Central.